Triangle. This is WNCN News at 11.
Good evening and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Mike Gonzalez. Tonight, UNC police are looking for a man they say exposed himself on campus, then took off. WNCN's Jonathan Rodriguez is live in Chapel Hill tonight with the details. Jonathan.
Mike, good evening. We're here on Manning Drive, one of the busiest roads on UNC's campus. It's move-in weekend. Students have been moving into their dorms all throughout the day, but they got an alert they were not expecting from an incident that happened right across from UNC's hospital at a busy bus stop right in the middle of the day.
I'm excited to be here.
Suspicious activity to call them immediately. We're live in Chapel Hill tonight. Jonathan Rodriguez, WNCN News.
All right, good advice there. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. It's also move-in weekend at NC State University. Take a look. This was the scene this afternoon outside Sullivan Residence Hall on West Campus. University says around 4,500 freshmen will be moving to campus. School officials call it their strongest ever academic freshman class. Move-in at NC State continues through next Tuesday, and classes begin next Wednesday. WNCN is your back-to-school headquarters. Whether it's information about move-in dates, bus schedules, or school supplies, hey, we've got you covered. Just download our news app on your Apple or Android device. We have a back-to-school section with everything that you need to know. Was a tense scene in Durham early this morning as the SWAT team captured a kidnapping suspect. Take a look. Authorities say shortly before midnight, Alex Fernando Mesa Acosta kidnapped 3 people from a home on Shawn Lane in Clinton. Police later rescued the children from his home on Alston Avenue in Durham. Mesa Acosta is charged with 3 counts of kidnapping. And police tell us Mesa Acosta abducted his girlfriend, Evelyn Barahona, her 9-year-old daughter, along with 4-year-old son by force. Mesa Acosta surrendered this morning without incident. New tonight, police make an arrest in the killing of a Fayetteville native in Asheville. Police charge Juan Carlos Jimenez with first-degree murder in the death of Chris Ortega. Authorities say he died after being suffocated in October of last year. No word yet on a motive. Ortega graduated from Douglas Byrd High School and then UNC Pembroke. He moved to Asheville just 5 years ago, and he was known for his great artwork. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's turn to the weather. It was really muggy out there today. Let's check in with Kim Diener, who has your forecast.
It definitely was a muggy August day. Exactly any of your outdoor activities. I'll have that and more coming up in a moment.
All right, Kim, thanks so much. Appreciate that. It's been a full week now since an unarmed teenager was shot and killed by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. It sparked a lot of protests all week long. And tonight, members of the community, they are back out on the streets and they're demanding justice. It comes just hours after the governor of Missouri declared a state of emergency. Jay Gray has the latest.
Hundreds returned. Sources tell NBC News the Department of Justice did not want released, fearing it would lead to more tension, frustration, and violence. In a community that's already been pushed to its limits. Jay Gray, NBC News, Ferguson, Missouri.
And that curfew will last until 5 a.m. Some Triangle residents are doing their part to help stop the Ebola virus. A fundraiser took place this afternoon in Raleigh. Carol Barclay and Catherine Wowie Jones are working with the nonprofit group called Liberian Emergency and Disaster Relief Fund. They're helping raise money for equipment and supplies. More than 1,000 people have died since the Ebola outbreak began earlier this year in West Africa.
Planning a strategy to go back to Liberia to teach the people. They need education. We need doctors, we need teachers, volunteer to want to go back to Africa and educate the people on hand sanitizing. That is the problem.
Donations will go to established organizations helping fight the Ebola virus in West Africa. Meanwhile, there's some really good news about one of the 2 Americans sickened with Ebola. Dr. Kent Brantley is undergoing treatment at Emory Hospital in Atlanta. He issued this statement saying he's recovering in every way. Brantley says there are some hurdles to clear before he can be discharged. He and fellow aid worker Nancy Wrightball became infected with the virus while serving in Liberia. U.S. military officials say airstrikes are underway in northern Iraq to aid a joint operation by Iraqi and Kurdish forces there. Take a look. They're trying to regain control of an important dam in Mosul that was captured by ISIS militants earlier this month. U.S. is providing air support from U.S. F/A-18 jet fighters, also armed drones.
Iraq will continue to work with all countries and an organization to fight this international terrorism groups and defeat them.
And that facility, it's really important for water and electricity in the region. The country also wants to avoid an environmental disaster that could be triggered if that dam is destroyed. Coming up, Texas Governor Rick Perry responds to an indictment alleging an abuse of power. Welcome back. Hope you're having a great night. Check out this wild police chase caught on camera in California. Police say it started after a woman stole a patrol car. At one point, officers deployed spike strips, but that car just kept on going. Authorities say the woman went on to ram 5 emergency vehicles. Police eventually disabled the vehicle and took that woman into custody. Well, today is National Airborne Day, and you can bet it did not go unnoticed in Fayetteville. The Airborne and Special Operations Museum held a celebration marking the 74th anniversary of the first jump by a paratrooper. Today's event also marked the dedication of Interstate 295 loop around Fayetteville. Today it was officially named the Airborne and Special Operations Highway. Well, today's event was a real reminder of that airborne heritage. The Golden Knights performed their daring parachute demonstration. WNCN's Brandon Herring, he actually got to go up in the air with the Knights. He gives a look at their mission.
WNCN News.
Brandon, thanks so much. And the Golden Knight members, they travel around the country 275 days a year. They're back to a normal schedule after sequestration grounded the Knights last year. A Johnston County church has a new home tonight. Blackman's Grove Baptist Church in Johnston County is 121 years old, and the congregation is growing. So to accommodate that growth, the church building was moved across the street. They'll have 6 acres to add a fellowship hall on Sunday school classrooms. Several residents in Four Oaks came out to witness the historic event.
To be able to see the church, that their beloved church, that has tradition and family ties, to be able to move across this highway and have a bright future ahead of them.
And the church will be ready for service once again around Easter. In the meantime, service is being held in a fellowship hall. Texas Governor Rick Perry is responding tonight after a grand jury indicted him on felony charges. Special prosecutor says Perry abused his power by trying to pressure a district attorney to resign. Authorities say Perry vetoed funding for a statewide public integrity unit run by District Attorney Rosemary Lemberg after she refused to resign after being convicted of drunken driving. Perry says that veto was justified.
I exercise this authority to veto funding for an office whose leadership had lost the public's confidence by acting inappropriately and unethically. I wholeheartedly and unequivocally stand behind my veto.
Perry also called the indictment against him an outrageous abuse of power. Authorities say the couple charged with kidnapping 2 Amish girls in New York State were looking for opportunities to victimize people. On Friday, police arrested 39-year-old Stephen Howells and 25-year-old Nicole Vasey. The sisters, who are 6 and 7 years old, they disappeared Wednesday night. They reappeared Thursday night, 15 miles away from where they were taken.
They were dropped off by their captors in the area that was originally described in the town of DeKalb, the hamlet of Bigelow, and then they went to a door and knocked on that door, and that person that was identified previously took them to their residence.
And investigators say the girls were sexually abused while they were in captivity. They're expected in court on Thursday. People in Memphis were left in the dark for several hours following a gigantic power outage. It started shortly before 9 o'clock last night. It wasn't restored until 2 a.m., so police set up squad cars to help illuminate the streets. Crews are blaming the incident on a power supply cable problem. In the Northwest up in Oregon, 2 people are dead following an accident involving a commuter train near Portland. Listen to this. It's horrific. Police say a train hit a man and a woman in a wheelchair. The man was sitting on her lap when he accidentally hit a motorized control on the chair. It forced it right into that oncoming train. That incident does remain under investigation. Water main break caused a gigantic mess this morning in Boston. Take a look at this. A 30-inch main burst flooding the road, parking lot, and nearby construction site. Homes and restaurants had no water coming through those faucets unless it was very low pressure. The flooded road buckled several spots. The city hopes to have repairs completed by Monday morning. California research team says a garbage patch about, get this, twice the size of Texas could cause some serious long-term damage to the ocean. Take a look. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch, as it's called. It's actually hundreds of miles long, and the thing is growing. It's located 1,000 miles off the coast of California. The patch consists of plastic and various other debris swept together by ocean currents. Long-term environmental impact of that garbage still unknown.
huge swaths of the ocean are completely trashed. Because those areas are remote, they're not part of the conversation. We need to make them part of the conversation.
This is just one of 5 garbage patches swirling around our oceans. All are said to be hundreds of years old. Unbelievable. This is a great story. A young girl is showing the boys on the baseball field who's the boss, and she is taking the country by storm after throwing a shutout at the Little League World Series. Kristen Dahlgren has the amazing story.
In her hometown Philadelphia, Monet Davis, is girl with the golden arm, is already a game changer. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, New York.
All right, what a great story. Well, Davis's team, they'll play again tomorrow night. They face Texas at 7 o'clock. Well, you're not the only one who likes to have a little fun in the sun during summer. Take a look at this. Dogs had their day of play at a canine splash pad in Ohio. The event featured teams showing off dog agility and dog herding. There was also a hot dog bobbing contest, mutt strut fashion show, and of course, plenty of splashing. Oh, that looks great.
And now, your WNCN weather forecast.
It was a great day for any type of splashing you could possibly find, or possibly a thunderstorm or two. Again, not looking at the chance of at least a big chance of the severe weather. And then we keep the 90s and unsettled really all the way through the forecast until next Saturday, down to 88. Very typical for August.
Well, at least we're having a good weekend. You know,
Yes.
You can't complain about that.
No.
Although it is sticky, that's for sure.
Better this than the last couple of weekends.
You got it. That's for sure. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. Well, it was a day to get rid of those old documents in Durham. Take a look. The WNCN Shredded event. It was another great success. Hundreds of people showed up to Coastal Federal Union along Page Road to get rid of those old documents that have been hanging around the office or the house for way too long. People who came to the event say it was well worth the wait.
Well, we've got about 10 years worth of tax records we had to get rid of, and it burned out our little home deal we had, so we decided we'd bring it out and get rid of it all.
And this is a really nice setup. I mean, it's nice just to drive through and them help you out and do it.
And we do have one more Shredded event coming up next Saturday at the Crown Complex in Fayetteville from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's open to the public. It's absolutely free, and there is a 4-box limit. Stay with us. We'll be right back.